The mansion was still lit when the sun dipped behind the hills of Los Angeles, but inside, Bill Spencer was pacing the marble floor with a glass of scotch in his hand. Nothing in his empire, no hostile takeover or media scandal, had ever prepared him for this. Just hours earlier, Luna had stood at his doorstep with not one, but two newborn babies in her arms. His front door had become the stage for a revelation that shattered every assumption he had about his family, his legacy, and his control. The truth, raw and undeniable, was that he was staring at his grandchildren, and the father of those twins, his son, Will. Luna's voice still echoed in his ears, sharp yet calm, as she pushed the reality into his chest with the weight of a newborn's cry. These are Will's children, Bill. Your grandchildren. You can't deny them. You can't deny me. He had tried to resist, tried to shut the door, tried to tell her that she was insane, that she was manipulative. That this was another one of those plots the Forresters and Logan spun endlessly around him. But the babies silenced his denials. With every small breath, with every twitch of their tiny fists, they erased his ability to dismiss what she was saying. Luna had orchestrated this moment with a precision that stunned even him, a man who had spent his life mastering strategy. For months, she had disappeared from the spotlight, hidden away from questioning eyes, and now it was clear why. Lee, her trusted relative, had been the silent guardian of her secret, guiding her through the pregnancy, ensuring her health, protecting the unborn twins from scandal and scrutiny. Lee had done it in the shadows, keeping her oath as a doctor and as family. What Lee hadn't known, what no one had known, was that Luna had her own endgame, to place herself, through these children, directly inside Bill's world of power and influence. Bill's initial reaction had been fury, a fury that twisted through him as he stood in the great room replaying the confrontation. You think you can just show up here with two babies and blackmail me into accepting this? He had barked. Luna had stood firm, her hands steady around the bundles of life she carried. This isn't blackmail, Bill. This is truth. You can't run from it. Will is their father. These children are Spencer blood. Whether you want it or not, they belong to you. It wasn't until she said the word Spencer blood that something shifted in him. Because Bill Spencer prided himself on legacy, on empire, on bloodlines that stretched from his sons down into the future. And now the future had arrived, not in a boardroom or in a corporate acquisition, but in the cries of two newborns swaddled in soft blankets. Still, the weight of shock kept him from embracing the truth. His anger fought with his pride, his disbelief with his instincts. Where is Will? He had demanded. But Luna's silence told him everything. Will was absent, detached from the storm, leaving his father to face the consequences of his actions. Lee, meanwhile, was in chaos. She had spent months protecting Luna, nurturing her, making sure the pregnancy went smoothly, and she believed she had done the right thing. What she never expected was betrayal. Luna had vanished from her care at the final hour, slipping away without a word. By the time Lee realized she was gone, Luna was already on Bill's doorstep, forcing him into a corner. Lee scoured the city, torn between anger at Luna's recklessness and fear for the safety of the babies. But she knew Luna. She knew Luna was cunning. Every move she made was calculated, and disappearing meant only one thing. She had a bigger plan. And she was right. Luna's plan wasn't just about motherhood. It was about survival, about power, about carving a place for herself in the ruthless world of the Spencers. By binding herself to Will, by producing heirs to the Spencer dynasty, she had ensured that no one could erase her, no one could dismiss her, no one could push her aside. The twins weren't just children. They were shields, weapons, leverage. Bill sat down at last, his scotch untouched, his mind racing. He could hear Katie's voice in his head, reminding him of the importance of honesty, of stability, of protecting their son. He could hear Brooke, always the moral compass when it suited her, demanding that he take responsibility. And he could hear his own instincts telling him to fight, to resist, to never let anyone hold something over him. But the reality was unshakable. These children were his bloodline. And as much as he wanted to deny Luna, he couldn't deny them. The thought of Will being tied to Luna unsettled him more than anything. His youngest son, barely a man, thrust into fatherhood, tethered forever to a woman who had proven herself willing to play the long game, to manipulate, to scheme. Bill could already see the headlines, the gossip, the Forrester whispers spreading through the fashion houses. Spencer heir ensnared. Twins born in scandal. Luna rising through chaos. It was a narrative that threatened everything he had built. Yet even in the pit of his fury, Bill couldn't shake the vision of those twins. Innocent, helpless, pure. They hadn't asked to be born into this war, but they were here. And whether he liked it or not, they were his. Luna knew she had him. When she had walked away from his house after forcing the truth into his lap, she didn't look back. She had seen the flicker in his eyes, the crack in his armor, the way his gaze had softened just slightly when he looked at the babies. She knew he would never be able to turn his back on them, and that was all she needed. But Bill wasn't the only one unraveling. Lee was relentless in her search. She stormed into the Forrester mansion, into Spencer Publications, into every hospital she had contacts in. She demanded answers. She cursed Luna's name. She blamed herself. If anything happened to those babies, it would be on her shoulders. She had protected them for months, and now, just when they needed her most, Luna had slipped through her fingers. The fallout was immediate. Steffi, already entangled in family wars of her own, demanded to know what role Luna was playing in Spencer affairs. Brooke warned that Luna was dangerous, that Bill had to tread carefully. Katie, devastated for Will, begged Bill to step in, to take control before Luna's schemes destroyed their son's future. Ridge, ever suspicious, hinted that maybe this was another Forrester-Spencer war brewing, one that could topple both families if left unchecked. But Bill stayed silent through it all. His empire had weathered storms before, but this wasn't a hostile takeover he could fight with lawyers and money. This was blood. And blood had always been the one thing Bill Spencer couldn't ignore. As the days ticked toward October, whispers grew louder. The twins were coming to the forefront, not hidden, not buried, but front and center in the world of the bold and the beautiful. And with them came questions that no one could answer yet. Would Bill embrace them as Spencer's? Would Will step up and claim his children? Would Luna cement her place in the dynasty, or would her schemes collapse under the weight of her ambition? For now, all that remained was the shock. Bill Spencer, the man who controlled everything, had been blindsided in his own home. And as Luna disappeared into the night with 2 infants and a plan, he was left with the one thing he hated most, uncertainty. And in Los Angeles, uncertainty was always the first spark of chaos. Bill didn't sleep that night. The mansion felt too large, too hollow, and every corner of it whispered the same word, grandfather. He didn't want to admit it, but the image of those 2 infantiny faces framed in soft blankets, their cries echoing in his entryway, wouldn't leave his mind. His anger at Luna was still burning, but beneath the fury was something even more dangerous, responsibility. For a man who built his life on control, the realization that his legacy had just been rewritten without his consent was unbearable. By morning, the storm spread. The news reached Katie first. She barged into Bill's office at Spencer Publications, her eyes wide with disbelief. Tell me this isn't true, Bill. Tell me Luna didn't just show up at your door with Will's children. Bill's silence was answer enough. Katie's voice shook. He's barely out of college. He doesn't even know who he is yet, and no twins. A lifetime tied to Luna? Bill, this will destroy him. Bill slammed his fist on the desk. You think I don't know that? You think I wanted this? He exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. But they're here, Katie. They exist. And no matter how much I hate what Luna's done, they're mine. My blood. My grandchildren. Katie's face softened with pain. And what about Will? Where is he in all of this? That was the question Bill couldn't answer. His son had gone silent, unreachable, leaving his father to handle the firestorm. Meanwhile, Luna was hiding out in a small apartment on the edge of town. She cradled her twins in her arms, humming softly, her lips curved in a triumphant smile. She had done it. She had forced Bill Spencer to look her in the eye and acknowledge the truth. He hadn't embraced her yet, but she had seen its hesitation, the flicker of pride, the softening when he looked at the babies. Bill Spencer might fight her, but he would never fight them. And that was how she would win. Lee, however, was relentless. She tracked Luna's moves with precision, calling in favors from every doctor, nurse, and contact she had. She stormed into her office, pacing furiously. "She betrayed me," Lee muttered, her voice dripping with anger. "I protected her. I risked everything to keep those babies safe. And now she's turned them into pawns." Her assistant timidly reminded her that the babies were family too, but Lee snapped back. Family doesn't manipulate. Family doesn't vanish in the night. But beneath her anger was fear. Fear that Luna wasn't capable of raising twins on her own. Fear that Luna's obsession with securing a place in the Spencer empire would overshadow the needs of her children. Fear that Bill, with all his power, would crush Luna before the dust even settled. Back at Spencer Publications, Wyatt and Liam were quick to weigh in. Liam stormed into his father's office the moment he heard the news. "Tell me this is a lie. Please tell me this isn't happening." Bill looked up at his son, exhausted. "It's happening. 2 babies. Luna's. Will's." Wyatt whistled low. "Leave it to Will to skip dating and jump straight to fatherhood ×2. This isn't funny, Wyatt," Liam snapped. "Luna's dangerous. She used those kids to get whatever she wants. We all know it." Bill's jaw tightened. "She already has. The second she showed up at my door, she changed the game. I can fight her, but I can't fight them. They're Spencer's." Liam paced the office. "So what? You just hand her the keys to the kingdom? You let her waltz in and claim part of our family's legacy because she had Will's kids." Bill's voice grew cold. "I don't hand anyone anything. Not Luna. Not anyone. But this isn't about what I want anymore. It's about those children." While the Spencers clashed over the next move, Luna played her hand carefully. She leaked whispers to the press, subtle hints that the Spencer family had a new branch that Will had fathered twins, that Bill's empire now had 2 new heirs. By the time the gossip columns hit the stands, the entire city was buzzing. Spencer twins. The scandal electrified Los Angeles. Steffi and Rich debated what this meant for Forrester. Brooke, horrified, told Hope that Luna had outplayed them all. Even Quinn, long absent from the spotlight, called Wyatt, demanding details. The pressure mounted. Bill's enemies smelled weakness. His rivals saw an opportunity. His allies questioned his control. And through it all, Luna sat in her apartment with her twins, certain that she had one. But Bill Spencer was not a man who lost. He called his lawyers. He called his investigators. And he began to build his own planet just to protect his son, but to decide the fate of those twins. He would not let Luna dictate his future. He would not let her hold his legacy hostage. When he finally tracked her down, Bill didn't come with threats. He came with resolve. He stood in the doorway of her apartment, staring at the baby she cradled. His voice was low, controlled, dangerous. "They're Spencer's, which means they belong to me. You think you've won, Luna, but this game, it's only just begun." Luna met his gaze, calm and defiant. "I don't want your money, Bill. I want recognition, respect, a future for my children. You can't erase me from their lives. I am their mother. You'll have to live with that." Bill stepped closer, his shadow falling over her. "And you'll have to live with this. No 101 controls Bill Spencer. Not even the mother of his grandchildren." For a moment, the 2 locked eyes. A silent battle waged in the small apartment. The twins stirred between them, innocent and unaware of the storm raging over their heads. And in that fragile moment, the future of the Spencer dynasty hung in the balance torn between a ruthless patriarch determined to protect his legacy, and a cunning mother who had already changed the game forever. The war for the twins had only just begun.